Welcome to Speaking Concretely, the official podcast of the Cement Association of Canada. I'm Adam Auer, President and CEO of the CAC. Today we're joined by our very own Tim Smith, Senior Technical Director of Infrastructure and Specifications at the Cement Association of Canada. Tim is our in-house expert on all things transportation and infrastructure and highly respected in the broader community of technical professionals. In his over 30 years of experience in the industry, Tim has made deep contributions to continuous improvement in our understanding and use of concrete in transportation and infrastructure projects and specifications. He's won multiple recognitions for his work, including the Transportation Association of Canada's Distinguished Service Award, their highest honor. Tim is retiring at the end of this year, and so it's my great pleasure to have Tim on the podcast to reflect on his career in the industry and his observations about how cement and concrete have changed and where they're going in the future. Tim, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Adam. Great to join.
Why don't you start by just telling us a little bit about yourself, how you came to work in the cement and concrete industry and some of the roles that you've had in the sector across your career.
Okay. Well, this is over 40 years of working. So when I first got involved in the cement and concrete industry, I was actually working for the New Brunswick Department of Transportation. And a job opportunity came up with the Cement Association of Canada, and Bill Dooley, who was the executive director of the Atlantic region at that time, went through 2 interview processes and ended up choosing me of the people that he interviewed. So that was my first start into the working in the cement and concrete industry. I did, of course, when I was with MBDOT, I did some stuff on the concrete side, but really to work in the cement and concrete industry, it was when I started working with CAC several years ago. In that, I was working for 5 years in Atlantic Canada as the head on the transportation side, and I got transferred to Ottawa and took a position as the director of the transportation side at that point, and worked there for 17 and a half years with Cement Association of Canada. And then I resigned to go and work with consulting firm Stantec. I was with them for a year, and then I went on to work with Lafarge, now Amrise, for 5 years. And then went with Englobe, and then I had an opportunity to come back with the Cement Association, so I resigned from Englobe. And I came back with the Cement Association about 6.5 years ago. So 24 years in the cement and concrete with the Cement Association of Canada, but when I was in the Lafarge, of course, it was 5 years of working in the concrete industry, and then working in the consulting industry. I did a lot of things on the concrete pavement side because I have got pretty good knowledge in that area.
Sort of full circle, start with the CAC and retire with the CAC. That's
yeah.
Well, and we've been a huge beneficiary, obviously, of that commitment to the association. Many people, consider cement and concrete boring. I always joke that, if you're in this industry, you can talk about cement and concrete, endlessly, much to the dismay of our friends and family. But actually, I don't think cement and concrete very boring. I suspect that you don't either. What is it about the industry that you find so interesting that you've built your entire career around it?
Well, that's a really good question. I enjoy the cement and concrete industry basically because concrete is used in everything we do. Other than water, it's the most used commodity in the world. Our bridges are made out of concrete. Our buildings are made out of concrete. We have sidewalks. We have roads. We have concrete pipe, etc. It's such a widely used product that we depend on it, but in a lot of cases we don't notice it. So I just think it's an industry we're constantly improving. We do a lot of research. It's something that you're continually learning. As an engineer, you're always trying to improve your knowledge in areas. And certainly in the cement and concrete side, there's always something new going on that to learn. And you can't know everything. That's why you have to have a really good network of people that you can work with and trust. And we've got a fantastic team in the Cement Association of Canada. And it's really good to be able to work with the people that have a great knowledge in the cement concrete side.
I agree. It's been one of the biggest surprises of my career in the cement industry is how how much there is to know and learn. And even after 13 years myself, I feel like every day is a learning opportunity. So 100% agree with you there.
Adam, we never know everything. That's why you have to have a good network of people outside of just the cement and concrete side to
Yeah.
to lean on when you need some experience in an area that you don't really know as well as others.
Well, that's the other great thing about the industry too, is the amazing people that you get to meet and network with. It makes me think though, the 30 years, over 30 years, you've been in the industry. You must have seen quite a few changes, not just at the CAC, but in the industry as a whole. What have been sort of the major shifts that you've observed over your career?
One thing is, I had mentioned earlier, the research that our industry does. And it's not just the cement side, but in the concrete side, in the admixture side, we've got such an changing environment all the time. We have now GUL cement, which is more environmentally friendly than the GU cement. It has a up to 10% reduction in their carbon footprint. So we're always looking at new things like these. The new admixtures that we have now can help reduce the amount of cement, which again reduces the carbon footprint. We've got the ready mix guys have software now that they use to optimize their mix designs to make sure that they're resilient and that they're going to be long lasting, but also look at the sustainability side. We have environmental product declarations that are now done, and so they can figure out what the carbon footprint of our mixes are and compare one mix design to another. So it's just tremendous. But if I can go back to when I first started in 1994, I remember I got put on a job on Highway 104 in Nova Scotia. It was a concrete pavement. And what I was asked to do was to be there, learn, and to help out the contractor that was operating at that time. And so there was one case where back in those days, instead of having global positioning systems to tell you how thick your concrete's going to be and drive along on your slip-form paver, they used to have string lines, and the slip-form paver would have arms that would go on top of the string lines. Well, we were in the job, and one day, I don't know how it happened, but an 18-wheeler comes down the job site, down the hill, and comes right fairly close to where we're paving before he got really noticed. And I'm not sure how that happened, but we had probably half a kilometer of string line already up. And now I had to get this guy and back him up. So it was I had to do it, the young engineer. So I had to back this guy up 3 kilometers off the job site, because you pave uphill and you don't pave downhill. So you're paving uphill. So we're coming close to the hill. So I had to back him up so he doesn't bang into the string line and change the elevations of the pavement, but also make sure he doesn't damage his shoulders in this upgrade and everything. So I'm backing him up for 3 kilometers to get him off the job site. So that was my first year with the Cement Association. Probably it was 2 months into my starting the job. So that the advancements in equipment, I didn't have to worry with the string lines anymore, but we do a lot better job in our traffic control, I think, too, that you don't have silly things like that happening.
That's right. Well, let's talk a bit about the transportation side, because that's been sort of the bulk of your focus through your career, developing technical specifications for concrete pavements and advocating for greater use of concrete pavements in Canada. Why are concrete pavements important, and why do you think they're not used more often in Canada?
Well, that's a good question. Why are concrete pavements important? Because I think it's an extremely good and durable pavement structure that will last longer than an asphalt pavement. It's certainly not the solution for every application, but I think you'll see a lot of applications that concrete's not being used that it should be. When you just look at the long-term durability of concrete, it's designed to last 25 to 30 years, but after that 30-year, 25-year period, you can actually dowel bar retrofit it, diamond grind it to reestablish the smoothness and the load transfer across the slabs, and you've got virtually a new pavement. So you've got an extended life of your pavement, having the concrete pavement. Where in the asphalt, your designs are probably anywhere from 10 to 15 years. So I think that's one area that our engineering people don't look at close enough. Also, if you want to start looking at some of the benefits, you've got better nighttime visibility with concrete because of the light reflectance. Concrete deflects light on a diffuse manner, so it's like taking a ball and throwing it into a pool, and it splashes up all the light at all angles. Asphalt deflects it in a spectrum manner, which you throw a ball on the ground, it bounces up one angle. So you get better diffusion of the light so that you get better light reflectance. So you get that advantage in the concrete. We have much lower energy footprint in concrete because the binder in asphalt, main binder is liquid bitumen, which has an energy footprint in its own. Another cool thing about concrete that we've been learning now is the concrete is a carbon sink, so it absorbs carbon. So on a concrete pavement, you've got a very large surface area, so it's absorbing some of the carbon. But on top of that, what you can do in the concrete in its later stages, if it's starting to get rough, you can diamond grind it to improve the ride. While you're in the diamond grinding it, you're taking off that concrete that's been carbonated, and you're exposing a new surface of concrete, and that surface of concrete can now carbonate. So there's a lot of environmental advantages of the concrete that we don't even think of. And then when we think of our industry of now having GUL cements and having supplementary cementing materials, which can actually be used to replace the cement, we can really decrease our carbon footprint substantially. And as you know, our goal in 2050 is to be carbon neutral. And there's a lot of research and things going on the concrete side to look at that. And I guess there's one other one I probably should mention is too, truck fuel efficiency. When you have heavy trucks driving on concrete versus asphalt, concrete does save fuel. So that's another very interesting thing. So saving fuel actually decreases your carbon as well.
What do you think the sort of knowledge or understanding of some of those benefits is? Like, one part of the question we haven't sort of gotten to yet is why we're not using more concrete pavements in Canada. What is it that people are misunderstanding or getting wrong about in cement and concrete that's kind of preventing wider adoption of concrete as a paving material?
I think it's just a lack of knowledge and understanding. I've given many courses over my 30-some years of experience in the cement and concrete industry, trying to explain the benefits of concrete, but also trying to explain it's not as hard to fix as many people think it is. You can do the diamond grinding of the surface to restore the smoothness or to restore the friction. You can do the dowel bar retrofitting. There's a lot of things that you can do to easily fix the concrete. But people are used to asphalt. They're used to have been able to go and mill and replace some asphalt if it's having issues, if it's rutting, etc. They're used to the various techniques for repairing the asphalt and are more comfortable with them because that's what they've been doing from year to year. But as they grow and understand concrete more and understand how it can help them in areas, especially of heavy traffic, where you've got lots of rutting, you get shoving in the pavements in intersections, you've got turning lanes, things like that, you could use concrete a lot more than is being used right now.
And do you see that trend picking up?
Well, in Ontario, there's really 3 provinces that use concrete a lot. And it would be Manitoba. In the Winnipeg area uses a lot of concrete. You see Ontario uses a fair amount of concrete in the 400 series highways. And you see some cities like Windsor uses it a lot. You've got some in Hamilton. Toronto area has a bunch of concrete as well. And then Quebec also is a very big user of concrete, especially in the Montreal area. But it's hard selling some places, especially if it's an area that produces oil, because they don't really want to see concrete in those areas, I guess. But to improve it, I guess we continually have to identify the benefits. And I think another thing too is as we decrease our carbon footprint, it's going to make concrete even more desirable to have, because not only will we have the resilience and the durability of the concrete, but we will also have a lower carbon material that can be used to the benefit of the municipalities and the government agencies, the DOTs.
So you've mentioned sustainability and carbon footprint a bunch of times already. How has that conversation around sustainability and in particular decarbonization kind of shifted as a priority? Obviously we've talked on the podcast about decarbonization in particular as a priority for cement and concrete producers. But how do you see it from as a transportation professional? That sustainability and decarbonization question coming more into focus in that broader community.
You get municipalities are now actually making statements that there's a climate emergency and that they need to reduce their CO2 footprint. And you have municipalities that are saying we need to decrease our carbon footprint. So as an industry, we actually have to be able to show them how we can do that. So to be able to show them how we do that is we produce the environmental product declarations of our materials so that we can put a baseline and say, this is the amount of CO2 produced with this concrete. But if we can change things, increase our amount of supplementary cement materials, and start using the GOL cements, we then can decrease and meet their goals of having reduced carbon in their communities, in their cities, and in the municipalities throughout Ontario and throughout Canada.
And is that a question that's being raised more and more often?
I see it with, especially in the Greater Toronto area. You've got even the GTAA, the Greater Toronto Airport Authority. They're actually coming out with information saying we need to decrease our carbon footprints and we need to have designs that are produced that way. So there is certainly specifications coming out having targets for CO2 emissions. And it's not just in the municipalities, but it's actually in the industries such as the airline industry. And we also have your contractors. Some people like Ellis Don have made it a point of ensuring that the type of construction that they do is environmentally friendly and that they're reducing their CO2 footprint and the way that they do things.
Yeah, Ellis Don was actually one of our guests on one of the earlier podcast episodes. So you're, as I mentioned at the outset of the podcast today, you're about to retire. And, you've had a long, illustrious career in the industry. What's, one or maybe of several pieces of advice that you'd share about, potential workers, future workers who might be considering a career in the sector?
Well, I think this would apply to anybody in any job, but first of all, collaborate. As an engineer, you are trained in problem solving, but you don't know everything. So you need to set up a community of people, a group of people that you can trust and you can learn from and understand. They may have a better knowledge of certain aspects than you do in one area, and you become a trusted confidant in another area for them. So beginning to collaborate, just as our Cement Association of Canada, we collaborate with our allied industry partners, the ready mix side, the concrete pipe side, and the CPCI side. We precast, we collaborate. We need to do that. Another thing is teamwork. Again, you're not going to know everything, but if you put a good team around you, you'll be able to utilize the knowledge of each person to come up with a solution for the problem that you're analyzing. I'm not an AI expert, but you got to make sure that you don't just depend on AI and blindly accept it. And the same thing with software. You have to have a basic understanding of the principles behind what you're utilizing to ensure that what comes out of it makes sense and that it's not giving you the wrong results. So you're going to have a basic understanding when you utilize any software or an AI system to make sure that you can analyze what that information that's coming out is right. So that you've got to use your engineered judgment in that and not just rely on the software and the AI to give you the right answer, because it might not be right. And the last thing I'd say is listening and learning is extremely important. I go back to that job. It was in 1994 on Highway 104. I was there for 10 days, the whole construction schedule. And one of the things I made sure I did is I sat with the foreman. I'm an engineer. and we don't know everything. And you can learn a lot from sitting with the foreman. I spent a whole day with him. I sat in the truck. We drove around the job site. I talked to him, gave him some advice. He talked to me and gave me some advice. We bantered back on things. And it was probably one of the smartest things I ever did when I was a young engineer, to sit down and listen to someone. No, they weren't an engineer, but they knew a heck of a lot more about the construction than I did. And I think that's what you have to do. You have to listen to the people around you and learn. Not always saying you have the answer, but listen to what other people have to say too, and then make your judgment based on that.
Great advice for engineers and pretty much any other profession.
Thank you.
So maybe one last question. Maybe it's not a fair question because I'm not sure how much time you've had yet to reflect on your career. I know you're still working really hard. But maybe as a parting thought, what will you remember most about your time in the cement and concrete industry and with the Cement Association of Canada?
Well, it's the people. I will remember everybody that I've ever worked with the Cement Association, all the way back to Bill Dooley and Norm McLeod, the first two people that I dealt a lot with the Cement Association. Norm was a great mentor, a great person. Bill, also great person and a person I enjoyed working for when I was in the Atlantic region. Yourself, all the people that we have here at CAC are just very good professionals and really good people and very knowledgeable people. And the people that I work with on committees are some of the best friends I have. I have friends all across the world through committees that I've worked on. It's the International Society of Concrete Pavements, the Transportation Association of Canada, the Canadian Airfield Pavement Technical Group, all these groups, American Concrete Institute. I've got so many really good friends that I've developed and actually utilized to assist me in some cases when I might not know something and I want to learn a little bit more. I'll contact the people that I know more about the subject than I do. I'm going to miss all them. That's I'm still trying to process that and how I'm going to miss all these people. Although I did find out from TAC that they're, for a nominal fee, I can actually still take part in their committee meetings. So I think at least the spring meetings, I'll because they're virtual, I'll be attending those and staying in contact with the people. But it's the people that I'm really going to miss.
Well, I think that's the people who are going to really miss you as well, Tim. I want to thank you so much for taking a bit of time with us today. And of course, on behalf of the CAC and our broader industry colleagues, wishing you all the best in retirement.
Thank you very much, Adam. It's been an honor and a pleasure to work with the Cement Association. I left a very good company in Englobe to come back and work for the Cement Association because I believe in what we do and I just love and enjoy working with the people that I do. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Tim.
You're welcome.
Thank you to our audience for listening. And don't forget to subscribe and follow our podcast on your favorite platform. We hope to see you next time.